strike, and the score!
And McClellan, he could go. Burst of speed.
The header, another goal's in!
Heisman Memorial Trophy, Bryce Young.
A shot from the front foot, 3-1, Crimson Tide.
We talked about Alabama. Alabama is still Alabama.
Roll Tide and welcome to the Crimson Tide production studio inside Bryant-Denny Stadium for another episode of Tide TV This Week. I'm Roger Hoover, joined by my co-host Kinsey Hughes. We're not only starting to feel like fall in Tuscaloosa, but almost winter-like temperatures.
Winter-like temperatures, it's apparently quarter zip season, as you can tell. And it was quarter zip season in Knoxville on Saturday. What a game. It obviously wasn't the outcome that we wanted, but it definitely was an exciting one. Came down to the very last play, and what about a performance from the injured Bryce Young?
Well, it was incredible, Kinsey. We felt like he could play, but we weren't for sure, but he didn't skip a beat in the ball game, as Bryce Young made amazing play after amazing play.
Returning from an injury after missing a majority of the Arkansas game and the entire game against Texas A&M last week, Bryce Young looked phenomenal. Young threw for a season-high 455 yards, completing 35 of 52 passes with 2 touchdowns. Young consistently made highlight throw after highlight throw the entire game. If the receivers weren't open, a little shake and bake, draw the defense in, and hits the open receivers. Jahmyr Gibbs also rushed for 103 yards on 24 carries with 3 touchdowns.
Alabama improved in the turnover margin category as the Tide gained 2 turnovers, including this Dallas Turner scoop and the score. 1 turnover there, but the Crimson Tide also missed out on an opportunity to go ahead at the end of the game and also gave up too many big plays on defense while being penalized a school record 17 times for 130 yards that nullified several big plays. It was a close one, but Tennessee defeated the Tide for the first time in 16 years, 52-49.
Kind of tell you what I told the team. It's a very disappointing loss. We didn't answer the bell today. Obviously, there's a lot of work to be done. Way too many penalties, did too many things to help them, gave up explosive plays, had a major error on special teams that was totally unnecessary that led to a score on their part. Got to give them a lot of credit. They did a nice job with their offense based on what we were trying to do on defense, but we didn't execute well enough. Got to give our players a lot of credit for, fighting back, getting back in the game after getting behind 21-7, and having an opportunity to win, at the end. Wish we could do some things a little different in the end, play a little better. Played way too soft at the end to let them go down the field 50 yards to get in field goal range. I think that the big thing that our players need to do is learn, from this experience. Have more respect for playing with discipline so we don't get penalties, we don't help the other team, we don't make mental errors that help the other team. But I also told the players that we can accomplish every goal that we've had start at the beginning of the season. There's no room for error in the West. If we win out in the West, we can win the West and, still have a chance to go to the SEC championship game. So. But I think the key to the drill is you got to learn from these experiences. You got to learn from the mistakes that you made. You never improve if you can't learn from the mistakes that you make. So, and obviously, we got a lot of work to do. I hope everybody, is all in on trying to do that work so that we can improve and, play better. I thought Bryce played really well in the game, made a lot of plays offensively, didn't get it done on defense when we had the chance. And then their last drive when they tied the game up, they got a 3rd down penalty, got a 4th down penalty that, led to their score to tie the game and, had an opportunity, needed to get a little closer for the field goal kicker, and we didn't get that done.
Kinsey, as Coach Saban said, everything the Tide has set out to do can still accomplish this season. Everything's still attainable. Alabama just has to win the remainder of their regular season matchups, then win the SEC championship, and once again, they'll be back in the college football playoffs.
For sure, Roger. It's completely attainable, and it's nice to control your own destiny. So let's take a look at the remaining schedule for the Crimson Tide. This weekend for homecoming, the Tide hosts Mississippi State, and then the Tide will have a bye week, so get your costumes ready. Alabama begins the final month of regular season with a matchup in Baton Rouge against LSU on November 5th. Alabama stays on the road as they travel to Oxford the following week to take on the Ole Miss Rebels. The Tide returns home for the last 2 weeks for matchups against Austin Peay and the Iron Bowl on Thanksgiving weekend.
Coach Saban and the coaching staff named 3 as their players of the week. No surprise, Bryce Young was selected on offense as he finished with season highs in completions and yards. Ja'Cory Brooks caught 6 of Young's passes for 79 yards and a touchdown to go along with the 2-point conversion.
Jordan Battle was chosen on defense and special teams. Battle finished with 7 tackles, including 4 solo stops. Now, let's take a look at our Crimson Tide in the NFL Players of the Week. And Roger, it was great to see Brian Robinson back out on the field last week and this week. B-Rob scored the game winner, too. How about that?
That was great to see as he got the start for the Commanders on Thursday night and rushed for 17 times for 60 yards, including the game-winning touchdown in the fourth quarter for the 12-7 win over the Chicago Bears.
Kenyon Drake had a huge performance for the Baltimore Ravens in their matchup against the New York Giants. Drake rushed for 119 yards on just 10 carries as he also had a 30-yard touchdown run for the first score of the game. Despite Tua not playing, Jalen Waddle still had a big performance. Waddle finished with 6 catches for 129 yards with a long of 49.
On defense, Jonathan Allen had a huge performance in the Commanders' Thursday night win. Allen totaled 4 tackles, a sack, and his first career interception, a big one in the red zone on the 5-yard line to end a scoring threat from the Bears.
And Quinnen Williams was a force on defense for the New York Jets in their big win over the Green Bay Packers. Williams had 5 tackles, 2 sacks, 5 quarterback hits, and a blocked field goal. He was named the AFC Defensive Player of the Week. Also, Roger, Jalen Hurts led the Philadelphia Eagles to a big win over the Dallas Cowboys, as Hurts and the Eagles are the only remaining undefeated team in the NFL at 6-0. A big week once again for the Crimson Tide in the NFL.
Certainly was, Kinsey, and also a big week for the Alabama soccer team. Crimson Tide picked up another ranked win this past Sunday, this one over 7th-ranked Arkansas. We'll have that and more when we return here on Tide TV This Week.
Tide TV This Week is presented by the University of Alabama, where legends are made. Ford, for great offers on F-150, see your local Ford dealer. Proud sponsor of the Crimson.
The lights of Tuscaloosa. What a finish we're in store for.
If you're looking to visit this stadium. They got it figured out here.
It's more than a buzz at Bryant-Denny Stadium. It's electric. Here comes the Tide.
In Tuscaloosa.
If we're blue-collar basketball, we're winning this game.
The buzzer sounds and Bama hangs on. Oh my goodness!
Welcome back to Tide TV This Week. What a week it's been for the Alabama soccer team. The Tide picked up a top 10 win at home over 7th-ranked Arkansas.
And then on Monday, there was a new #1 in the collegiate soccer rankings, and it was the Alabama Crimson Tide.
I mean, we are a football school. Alabama is #1 in the top drawer soccer rankings this week, Roger. It marks the first time in program history the Tide has been ranked #1. Alabama is also #1 in RPI.
My first year here, 2015, we ended that season ranked 213 in the RPI. And, here we are today sitting at #1. So, shows that, I guess for any, new coach starting out or any program, I don't care what sport you are, there's, there is light at the end of the tunnel, right? So it was pretty bleak, early on, but we knew if we stayed true to who we are and what we believed in, that we could get there. And so, by no means am I, think we've arrived or anything like that. We got to keep growing as a program, but it is, I don't know, it is satisfying to an extent that knows that, hey, the hard work that we've put in over the years is paying off.
The win over 7th-ranked Arkansas and UCLA's loss to Stanford put the 2nd-ranked Tide in the top spot.
That match against #7 Arkansas was certainly a tough one.
That's right, and the Razorbacks jumped out to a 1-0 lead in the 17th minute with this header by Ava Tenskersli. But Jessica Skorka answered off a great pass from Gianna Paul. Look at the fancy feet. Skorka's goal in the corner of the net tied the game at 1-1.
Then Ashlyn Sarepka had the game winner off a penalty kick in the 83rd minute. Great kick by Sarepka into the corner of the net gave Alabama the 2-1 win over #7 Arkansas.
A huge win for the Crimson Tide over the Razorbacks improved Alabama's record to, get this, 14-1-1 and a perfect 7-0 in SEC play.
Love that. And goalkeeper McKinley Crone continued her terrific play also in the victory.
And for that, Crone was named the SEC Defensive Player of the Week. Crone earned her 14th win of the season as the Crimson Tide's goalie and 32nd of her career. She's shut out 6 teams so far this season and has allowed just 2 goals in the last 3 games. Crone also holds the school record for single season and career wins by an Alabama goalkeeper. Congrats to McKinley and the #1 ranked Crimson Tide.
Absolutely. Alabama has been ranked #1 in football and soccer already this season. Roll Tide that. Speaking of football, it's homecoming week for the Crimson Tide. We'll have a preview of the Tide's homecoming matchup against the Mississippi State Bulldogs when we return.
Tide TV This Week is presented by Ford. For great offers on F-150, see your local Ford dealer. Proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide. The University of Alabama, where legends are made.
There's a formula for success. It takes practice, persistence, and an unwavering drive. Together, our aspirations become reality. Every triumph has its origin story. Ours begin right here, the University of Alabama, where legends are made.
Welcome to a sold-out Coleman Coliseum in Tuscaloosa.
Players play, tough players win championships. If we're blue-collar basketball, we're winning this game. Okay, if you play harder than them, you win the game.
Roll, Tide, roll is exactly doing that. It's hard to hear yourself in here.
The buzzer sounds, and Bama hangs on. Oh, my goodness!
Welcome back to Tide TV This Week. It's homecoming week here at the Capstone, and 6th-ranked Alabama football is hosting 24th-ranked Mississippi State.
That's right, Roger. And for a preview of this week's homecoming matchup between the Crimson Tide and the Bulldogs, our talented Christopher England joins us now.
Alabama welcomes 24th-ranked Mississippi State to Bryant-Denny for homecoming this Saturday. The 2 schools are the closest of all SEC schools, and Alabama has played more games against Mississippi State than any other opponent with 107 games. The Crimson Tide currently holds a 14-game win streak over the Bulldogs, and Alabama has been dominant during that stretch, winning by an average score of 33-7. Alabama won last year's matchup in Starkville 49-9. The Tide hasn't allowed a touchdown to the Bulldogs in Bryant-Denny Stadium since 2014. And in the last 4 matchups in Tuscaloosa and Starkville combined, the Bulldogs have only been able to score 1 touchdown. The 24th-ranked Bulldogs enter this year's matchup 5-2. The 2 losses are a 31-6 loss to LSU in Week 3, and last week's game against number 22 Kentucky, a 27-17 loss. Outside of those 2 losses, the Bulldogs haven't scored less than 39 points in any game this season, as they picked up wins over ranked Arkansas and Texas A&M. Mike Leach is in his 3rd year as head coach at Mississippi State. The BYU graduate has 155 wins as a head coach in his 21 seasons and currently ranks 2nd in the SEC behind Coach Saban and 5th in the FBS among active head coaches. Mississippi State has gotten off to a fast start in their 7 games this season. The Bulldogs have outscored their opponents by a total of 66-7 in the first quarter. Leading the Mississippi State offense is junior quarterback Will Rogers. Rogers has been efficient and one of the best passers in the entire country this season, ranking 5th in the nation, completing over 71% of his passes, while leading the nation with 32 completions per game. Rogers is also 4th nationally, averaging 332 passing yards per game and 3rd in the nation in passing touchdowns with 23. Rogers has tied Dak Prescott's career passing touchdown record with 70 and is just 338 yards away from breaking Prescott's career passing yards record.
This is a very challenging, offensive team, and I think it's very quarterback oriented, and him playing well, which he has done all year long, certainly enhances their opportunity to be successful.
Alabama will need to keep Will Rogers and the Mississippi State offense out of the red zone because the Bulldogs lead the nation in red zone touchdown percentage. The Bulldogs have scored 20 touchdowns in their 21 red zone visits this season.
They got a lot of ball hawkers. They got, you know, an experienced defensive team. They play a lot of pressure defense. There's a lot of movement, a lot of stunning, a lot of blitzing. I wish we would get more turnovers, take care of the ball better, and we're going to have to do that in this game because that'll be a critical piece to having success in the game.
The majority of those turnovers have been interceptions. Mississippi State leads the SEC and is 14th in the nation in interceptions with 9. Leading the Bulldogs is junior Emmanuel Forbes. Forbes leads the nation with 5 interceptions and has 4 in his last 3 games, including 2 returned for touchdown.
Stay with us. We'll have more Tide TV this week coming up next.
Right again. Play up up. Play up in.
We need a huge crowd to pack Coleman Coliseum.
Davis with the spin on the layup. Right to the basket. Lays it up. Lays it in despite the contact. What? You better hush your mouth, girl.
Stop it, Brittany.
Somebody stop me, I'm on a groove.
There you see the Crimson Tide ready to go.
Go.
Campbell down in Alabama. There's Jacobs.
Taken by Layla Smith.
Down and Alabama's back on top. Blocked by Jacobs. And blocked for
Alabama, they need a serving drive.
Are you kidding me?
Ray. And a point for Alabama on a long rally.
Move.
Welcome back. The Alabama volleyball team was back in Foster Auditorium on Wednesday night as the Tide hosted the LSU Tigers.
That's right, and LSU took the first set, but the Tide rallied, winning the next 2 sets to take the 2-1 lead. However, the Tigers won set 4, 27-25, and won the final set 15-7 for the 3-1 win. Kendall Rowe led Alabama with 16 kills. Emily Yannick led the Tide with 32 assists. Alabama takes on Georgia for 2 matches in Athens on Saturday and Sunday.
For her performance in the win over Mizzou, Aaliyah Wells was named the SEC Offensive Player of the Week. Wells led the team with 14 kills in a 3-set sweep over Missouri last Wednesday, the first SEC win of the season for the Crimson Tide. The Tide travels to Athens this weekend for matchups with Georgia on Saturday and Sunday.
That's right, and the Alabama cross-country team held their first home meet in the past 5 years on Friday as the Tide hosted the Crimson Classic.
Alabama swept both individual and team titles. Vincent Kiprop won with a time of 23:16.9 in the 8-kilometer course. Kiprop was named the SEC Men's Runner of the Week for the 3rd time this season. Amaris Tenismo was the women's champion as she posted a 19:39.8 time in the 6-kilometer race, finishing in second. Just behind Tenismo was Hilda Ololumomoy. Her second-place finish earned her SEC Freshman of the Week honors, also for the 3rd time this season.
The Alabama swimming and diving team swept South Carolina in their home opener this past Saturday. The Crimson Tide men defeated the Gamecocks 179-116, while the women dominated with, get this, a 190.5-109 victory. Kinsey McMahon, cool name, was named the SEC Women's Swimmer of the Week. McMahon won both the 500 and the 1,000-meter freestyles by more than 37 seconds combined in the 2 races.
The Alabama women's golf team finished 4th in the Alley at West Point, Mississippi this week. The story for the Tide was a hole-in-one and the Albatross. Isabella Vanderbeest, Kingsport, Tennessee native, had a hole-in-one with a 6-iron on the par 3, 164-yard 7th hole on Tuesday.
On Monday, Kennedy Adams scored an Albatross, which is a double eagle score of 2 on a par 5. Incredible shots by both as they were also career firsts. Congratulations on those incredible shots.
Also, Petra Sedlakova finished her run at the ITA Championships on Monday. She made it all the way to the semifinals but lost 2-1. It was her 2nd consecutive appearance in the semifinals after finishing in the top 4 last year.
And congratulations to Enzo Aguiar. Enzo was crowned the champion in the singles competition at the ITA Southern Regional Championships in Tuscaloosa. Aguiar won in straight sets 6-4 and 6-1.
He'll compete in the ITA National Fall Championships in San Diego, California, November 2nd through the 6th.
It was also SEC Media Days this week for the men's and women's basketball teams. Starting off with the women on Tuesday, they headed to Mountain Brook for their media day. Coach Curry was there along with Brittany Davis and Jada Rice. Davis was voted to the preseason All-SEC 2nd team. Coach Curry led the day off on Tuesday as she was the first to speak to the media.
I think we all have high expectations each and every year, but there's no question. I feel like our returning core made a commitment to come back to Alabama. We won 8 of our last 10, ended up having a 20-win season, made it to the quarterfinals of the NIT, and I think this team is hungry, and that's the momentum that carried us into the summer. So our leadership group, our core that's returning, and then we add some experience with the new faces, a talented roster. So the expectations are high, and I don't think anyone could expect more than we do of ourselves.
Coach Curry and the Crimson Tide open the season on November 7th as the Tide host Alabama A&M.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, Roger, and I can't believe it. Basketball season is almost here. And you know who else is excited? Nate Oates, as the Alabama men's basketball team took their turn at Media Days on Wednesday. Head coach Oates was joined by Charles Bediako and Noah Gurley. It was announced at SEC Media Days that Brandon Miller and Javon Quinterly were named to the SEC preseason All-SEC second team. The Crimson Tide were selected to finish 5th, with Kentucky chosen as the preseason favorite.
Got eight new faces, 4 freshmen. The other ones are all transfers. Need a lot of production out of the new faces, so I think, you'll see some, maybe, at the beginning of the year, there may be some games we're a little inconsistent. I think we've got a lot of room for growth, and we're looking to try to be peaking at the end of the year. So may go through a few growing pains early. We've got a tough non-conference schedule to get us ready, but we're looking forward to it.
Men's basketball opens the season next Saturday with an exhibition matchup against Southern Illinois at 2 p.m.
Y'all don't go anywhere. We have our plays and players of the week coming up next in just 90 seconds.
The lights of Tuscaloosa. What a finish we're in store for.
If you're looking to visit this stadium. They got it figured out here.
It's more than a buzz at Bryant-Denny Stadium. It's electric. Here comes the Tide.
We need a huge crowd to pack Coleman Coliseum.
Davis with the spin on the layup. Right to the basket, lays it up, lays it in despite the contact. What? You better hush your mouth, girl.
Stop it, Brittany.
Handoff, Gibbs, up the middle, 20, 15, 10, 5, to the checkerboard, touchdown Alabama.
There is a scoop and score from Dallas Turner. Touchdown Alabama.
Has a run from Skorka though, she's marked. 1v1, back to the middle, Skorka scores! The equalizer for Alabama. Sarepka from the spot. Alabama leads it. The dream season still alive.
Welcome back to Tide TV This Week. So those were our ATI plays of the week. Now let's take a look at our players of the week, brought to you by Legacy of Hope. Returning from injury, Bryce Young had an incredible performance while being pressured the entire game. Young completed 35 of 52 passes for 455 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Ashlyn Sarepka had the game-winning goal for the Crimson Tide in their win over 7th-ranked Arkansas. Sarepka sent a penalty kick into the right corner of the net to give the Crimson Tide a 2-1 win.
McKinley Crone had 5 saves and allowed just 1 goal in the Tide's win over the Razorbacks. It was her 14th win of the season as the Tide's goalkeeper, the most in Alabama soccer history.
Also, Vincent Kiprop took first place in the men's portion of the Crimson Classic. Kiprop finished in first place by 9 seconds. It's his 3rd consecutive win of the year.
And Amaris Tanisma picked up the win for the women. She finished in first place in the Crimson Classic as the Tide picked up wins in the top 3 spots.
And Enzo Aguiar was crowned the singles champion at the ITA Southern Regional Championships here in Tuscaloosa. He defeated the number 5 seed as well.
And we don't have any photos or videos, but we also want to recognize Isabella Vanderbeest, who had a hole-in-one on a par 3, and Kennedy Adams, who scored an albatross, which is a double eagle score of 2 on a par 5. Impressive shots, Roger. Impressive. Have you ever had an albatross?
I've only had one eagle in all my years of playing golf, over 20 years. So
I can't even spell albatross, so I don't know how they did that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for watching so much, and we hope to see you back here next week for another edition of Tide TV This Week.
Have a great weekend, everybody, and roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
This has been a presentation from Learfield,